Welcome back, guys. Today we're taking one of the toughest challenges I've ever set in Football Manager. We're rebuilding Hearts with one simple goal: win the Champions League. And here's the twist: this video will not end until we lift that trophy. No season limits, no shortcuts, just a strict budget, the constant fight to keep our best players, and the pressure of turning a Scottish underdog into Europe's elite. We'll be using my latest Pep-inspired tiki-taka tactic, elegant, risky, and built to take on the Giants. Can we actually pull this off? Stick around to find out. And if you want to try the save file for yourselves, or grab the tactic, they're all up on my Patreon already, alongside of this entire video being ad-free. Be sure to go over and check it out. There's currently 30% off. Leave a like and drop a comment below on what you're going to see next. And yeah, let's get into it. Today, I don't know how long this video will be, because this is some challenge. So then, over to Hearts in the Scottish League. Now, I believe this is the first time I've rebuilt this club. Past maybe FM24 I did it, potentially FM23 I did it, but FM24 I have not rebuilt this club, and they're a club that have got a lot of fans based off my comments. A lot of people want to see Hearts involved, so I thought, do you know what, let's do a rebuild with them, and instead of just saying win the Scottish League, which to be fair we could probably wrap up in a couple of seasons, I thought let's really push ourselves, try and win the Champions League, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Now, in terms of Hearts as a club, firstly let's talk about their reputation. So a 3-star reputation, 4-star training, 4-star youth facilities, and 3-star youth recruitment. So honestly, actually looking pretty decent. Now, the finances are okay, literally okay, and the owners do love the club, so a couple of positives in there. Now, I will say they're not the most lucrative club. They don't have tons and tons of money, so I'm expecting definitely for the first few seasons, especially when we're not winning the Scottish League, to be working with quite small budgets, and that's okay. I feel like I've done enough rebuilds now to know when to pick out a bargain, utilise the free agent market, utilise the loan market as well. And I think today you are going to be seeing a mixture of loans, free agents, and cheap transfers, because that is where we're really going to shine. Now, as a club, they have won 4 William Hill Premierships, 8 Scottish Gas Men's Scottish Cups, 4 Scottish Premier League Sports Cups, and 3 William Hill Championships. So definitely room to add a European trophy in there, something they are going to require. And to be honest, do you think this will ever happen in real life? Let me know. Football can become crazy sometimes. Now, their media prediction is to finish in 4th place, which I think is quite fair. If we go over to the competition screen right now and look at some of the teams in this league, you've got Aberdeen, Celtic, you've got Rangers, you know, you've got the mighty Hibs, you've got a lot of teams in here that can take points off us. And to be honest with you, I would love to win this league as many times as we can. And if I was a betting man, I would say we are going to win the league first, before, of course, winning the Champions League. When it comes to the Scottish Cup, for example, obviously I would happily win this. The last time we won this was 2011. We were in the final 2021, but obviously Rangers are going to be the winners in that. And when it comes to the Scottish Premier Sports League Cup, the last time we win this trophy is going to be all the way down in 1962. And the last time we got to a final was 2012. So not recent, but at least just, you know, in the 2000 era. So I feel like we can relive a bit of that history. As for the Premiership, the last time we obviously did go and win that is going to be in 1959, so definitely want to reclaim that title as soon as we can. And of course the Champions League, well, we've never won it. Europa League, never won it. Conference League, never won it. So definitely a lot of improvement to do. Now, in terms of money, budget-wise, we're going to have 100k. I personally will not sign a single player in Season 1. I'm going to work with the team that I've got. As always, we are using the Sort Out SI database, so they are going to have the latest transfers that might not affect me too much, but it's going to have all the transfers for Celtic, Rangers, all the European teams as well. Debts and loans, 0 and 0, so that's the one big thing. We don't have major debt to deal with. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, when you talk about winning the Champions League, there might be a couple of windows where I do push the boundaries, go a little bit over budget and treat myself, because sometimes you need to snap up the players when you can get them and progress the club a bit more directly. Now, the team we're using is obviously going to be based around a Pep Man City tactic. And again, at any part of this video, you want to get all of these perks. That will include the save file and the tactic, not just this one. Every video I do will have the tactic and the save file uploaded on that Patreon. There is currently 30% off, so make sure you go and get involved because we have got a lot of cool rebuilds and tactics coming out. Now, to be honest with you, I chose this tactic because, number one, I really like it. That's the basic. Number two, it's super simple. It's a 4-3-3. Pretty much any squad of players you can build a 4-3-3 with the players you have. It's not too niche. You know, we're going to have wingers, we're going to have strikers, obviously, midfielders, centre-backs, wing-backs. The only real niche role is this right inverted wing-back, which, to be honest with you, luckily, we've sort of got a player in Christian who can play there, so it's actually worked out quite well. Now, in terms of players that I know, there's not too many players, if any, that I know in this team. I recognise Alan Forrest. I don't know why, but I do recognise him. But one thing that I've noticed in this team is, like, for example, on the right-hand side, the passing's going to be 14. On the left-hand side with Vargas, it's 9. So this tactic is built around literally a short passing style, and I'm going to analyse it and make sure that we're not completely throwing ourselves under the bus, but I want to play this way, and of course we are going to be changing the team significantly over the next however many years it takes us to win the Champions League. So there will be player changes every season, as I think even if you are a big Hearts fan, you've got to be honest, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, there is not a single player in this team that I think could win me a Champions League, to be honest. So I expect them to do well in the Scottish leagues. I will say, this man at the back, he's a bit older, but he's probably our best defender by a country mile in Craig. I don't know what he's like in real life, but in the game, he looks really, really strong. Now, Shankland up front, he actually reminds me, I can't believe I'm going to compare him to this guy, a bit of a Harry Kane figure. Not the quickest, but he has got decent passing, fantastic pens, good finishing, good composure, good determination, can play a variety of roles, and I do think in Scottish football, he will score me a fair few goals. But when it comes to the Europa games or European games, when we get there, will he do that much? I'm not honestly too confident. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Season 1 right now, just see where we are as a club, you know, see if we can even use this tactic, see if it works with this team, and really just analyse what happens, because my expectation is not to go and win the league in Season 1. Honestly, it's not. I would like to finish second, if not third. Just to, you know, anything to get in that Champions League phase is what I want to try and fight for. Now, I don't know how many seasons it's going to take me to win the league. As for the cups, I've seen me win a Scottish Cup with a team like Kilmarnock in Season 1 before, so I'm not going to write off me winning either of these in Season 1, because sometimes Celtic and Rangers play each other and then they get knocked out by another team, so it's not always the toughest final you have. So let's get into Season 1 with the expectation of fighting for the league, hopefully a miracle in the cup, and just seeing if the tactic works. Let's just go and see. And the Premier Sports Cup final is a perfect example of miracles that can happen, or maybe not, because we are going to go 1-0 down against Celtic. Carter Vickers, the centre-back, actually scoring quite a good goal there. But luckily for us, Devlin is going to find a name that I will not say because I'll butcher it, into Spittal, and that is going to be an equaliser in the 75th minute. And this game actually gets pushed all the way to pens, with Shankland stepping up and shanking the ball into the top right corner and hitting the bar. So not a good start against Celtic, who you can't afford to give chances to. Our only chance of winning this final, if we actually carry on the pens, about time, is on penalties, and at the moment it's not looking very good. To give them a miss, or for us to miss and give them a save, is something we can't afford to do. And now we have to save one of their penalties, which we do. McGregor misses, Gordon is going to score, and things are all equal. Halkett steps up, a great penalty again, into that bottom left-hand corner. Oscar's going to step up for them, and it's a good penalty into the bottom right-hand corner. The pens have improved for us so far, and they carry on. As long as we keep going in the left-hand side, we're going to be okay. Paulo steps up, and it's another miss for Celtic. Gordon is going to win us our first cup final. Now, the Scottish Gas Men's Cup didn't go as well. We are going to lose to Rangers. Now, I'm not too annoyed, actually, because we have won the other Scottish Cup, and yes, it's a bit of an early exit. Well, it's not really early, but it's middle of the pack when it comes to, you know, how far you can get. But it's against one of the best teams in the game in this league, so I'm not too annoyed about it, to be honest. Now, as long as we have done decent in the league, this is a remarkable season. Let's go and see what we have done, because it sort of can't really tell from that screen, but we do win that at bare minimum. Where do we finish in the league? Incredible. I'll take it. Second place, a point over Rangers. Shankland's had a great season. So do you know what? I'm going to say it. Despite the penalty miss, he sort of got bailed out in that final by our other players, you know, turning up for the big time and our goalkeeper making some big saves. I'm really going to take this. Craig Gordon, hero of that cup final, hero of the league as well. A great amount of assists from Sander. Really, really good player by the looks of it. Again, he's a player that I will say he did come in for a total of, what, 225k is what Brand brought them in, then we got him. So, I mean, it's a bit of an interesting one. 30 years of age. He's clearly got the job done to a certain degree. And at the end of the day, to put up assists in the Scottish League, fair play to you, you know. I wasn't expecting to top Rangers in this season. And the fact we have done that is really, really impressive. Shankland clearly has got it in the locker for this league, outscoring Danilo, who bags goals in this league. Marmouche is at Celtic. I've got to just bring that up, by the way, because that is what we're competing against. And I'm going to make that very clear. We are going to keep a close tab on these teams because Celtic already have a player like Omar Marmouche. That is ridiculous. I think as an overall season speaks, we can be happy with the team as well, right? I mean, individually, they've done their job really, really strong. 38-5 for the big man up front. 17-8 coming in for the left mid. The right mid, 12-13. The midfield done such a good job, by the way. Especially Carton, 8-23. Now, this player is the guy we talked about, and I want to talk about him again because he actually done a lot better than what I thought from a grand scheme of things, because not only in the league did he score 7 and pick up 16 assists, overall we're talking over 30 goal contributions, which is really, really strong. His teammate in the Mazzala role, 18 goal contributions. A player I'm going to discuss is going to be Dehanda, 18 and 19 out on loan at Dundee, who, to be honest with you, we could have done with him here, because with him we could have maybe gone on to win the league, but the fact we have got him coming back is actually a real big statement. And to be honest, he doesn't look too bad. He's not the quickest. He's sort of like a Shankland sort of vibe. Not the quickest player, but good finishing, good composure. 27, so a bit on the older side. But at the end of the day, he doesn't even, you know, he wasn't even playing striker, obviously. It's not his favoured role. But for me, I think I might try and trade him into a striker, just so we've got a really good backup option. But who knows? He might not even want to be here when he comes back, so we've got to see what we can do, and hopefully the money is going to be somewhat decent. Now, when I say decent, I know it's going to be under 20 million, maybe 8 million, 3 million, 4 million pounds, with the fact of, you know, some contracts going to be coming up shortly as well. It's not going to be ideal. Now, we have put a lot of money already into securing contracts. I went through a lot of the squad players and essentially just said, right, I'm going to keep them here for as long as I can and replace them one by one, because they are getting the job done to a degree in Scotland, and we can replace them one by one when and if we need to. So luckily the contracts are somewhat okay. And without sounding disrespectful, a lot of these names aren't going to have big clubs come in for them, so we shouldn't have a big issue keeping them. So we are going to have that budget of £4 million to go and spend in Season 2 after a very decent first season. Let's go and make it happen. Well, I've had a Pep Guardiola window. What do I mean by that? Not that we spent 300 million. We've signed 2 wing-backs, and the first one is going to be Luke Thomas. Now, we would never be able to afford this guy usually, but he comes in on the free and drops a very good average rating, and also picks up 6 assists. Now, this guy is worth about £8 million, and, you know, he's played at some pretty big clubs as well in Sheffield and Leicester, and at the end of the day, he improves my left-back situation tenfold. I very rarely focus on prioritising wing-backs, but when you see the other guy I've brought in, I think you'll appreciate why I've done it, because it's almost like it was destiny. This guy was on the free, and we also picked up Kabore for 2.2 million, who can play in that inverted wing-back role, who is perfect for this system. He's great at passing, great at crossing, rapid on the ball, got good stamina, good strength, and he's 26, so again, not super young, but experienced. He knows what he's doing, and definitely an improvement, and he picks up 7 goal contributions. He's played at teams like City, Marseille, Troyes. You know, the guy's been about the block a little bit, yes, but that shows he can get into these teams. And although he's not exactly done much at City, if anything, he played a fair few games for Troyes and Marseille, so I'm not being funny. I think it's going to be a big improvement. And we finished that window having only spent 2.2 million, so still saving nearly half the budget. But that does mean we've invested everything into wing-backs. Wonder how that's going to play out. Well, when it comes to the league, to be honest with you, we actually kept quite consistent, and we have, of course, played in the Champions League this year as well. So, super happy to see that we are keeping up the same level of performance in terms of league position. Second place is always quite strong. Celtic are just, they're a level above everybody at the moment, and that's sadly going to be the reality for a few seasons, I think. Now, I will say a big relief is Xander Clark is now obviously going to be getting the game time as our other goalkeeper has been dropped or moved on, should I say, and he actually kept how many clean sheets? 19, joint first, so a really good performance from him. We've got Sander and Alan Forrest both contributing heavily when it comes to the assists, and obviously Shankland again is not slowing down. He is not slowing down, and actually now is wanted by, we can see Blackburn, so maybe a bit of interest for him there. He might be tempted to go to England. Hopefully not, because I need him in the team. But just to show you again, a runners-up medal. And do you know what? For Season 2, that's okay. When it comes to the Champions League, we're going to be nowhere near able to compete. For a few seasons, we've got to be honest to ourselves, okay? We play Porto, who obviously have got an incredible team, and they beat us 5-2 in the third qualifying round. Now, their team, ran by Farioli, they have got Samu, Jami, Veron, Vega, Varela, Fontan, Perez, Bednarek, Costa. One of their players is worth my entire club. So I'm going to be honest with you, we are going to struggle in the Champions League for quite some years. And sadly, it didn't get much better in the rest of the stuff. Now, I will say, the Europa League was a lot better. We do get blistered by West Ham 5-1 in the semi-finals, but the quarter-finals, we scrape past Bologna in 2-1 fashion. And when it comes to the round of 16, we scrape past St. Gallen. So it's not awful, to be honest. A semi-final appearance in the Europa League is, I think, quite respectful for our first experience in a European competition. And when it comes to the Scottish Cup, I mean, a quarter-final exit again doesn't sound great, but it is against Rangers, so I can accept it, and that's why I can also accept the Scottish League Cup exit, because it was against Rangers, who, we're topping them in the league, but in the cups they have our number, so it is what it is. At the moment, I'm actually really happy with what we are doing. It's our first season in a European competition. Granted, the Champions League is not where we are at the moment. The Europa League, we were one game off going to the final. Now, don't get me wrong, we got battered, okay, but West Ham are a top team in this game compared to Hearts, so I'm actually quite quietly proud of that. Now, money-wise, we are going to have treble the budget, potentially, with £9 million and no current contract situations to sort out. So, to be honest with you, I think this is now going to give us a bit more leeway to go and sign players. Debts and loans are still 0-0, so that is completely fine, and the team is now crying out for some new faces. And when I say crying out, I'm not slandering these players, but we look at the age, and we have got potentially, we've got literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players who all boast quite a big amount of ability and will be getting game time in this team that are 30 plus, and that's not good for a rebuild where you don't know how long you're going to be here. I could be here for 20 seasons, 10 seasons, even 8, 9 seasons. These players will be far gone, so I need to start getting in some, preferably maximum 27-year-olds and ideally 23, 24, but I've got to be realistic. The 23, 24-year-olds and younger, the ones with potential, cost so much money, so I can't be too picky. I've got to get what I can get until I start getting budgets that are in the 20 millions, 30 million pound regions. Then I can get a little bit picky with who I sign, but at the moment, don't want to sound negative, but it's whoever I can get, I will get. So let's get into the next transfer window after a good season, definitely an improvement, and we'll see what we can do. Well, for 3.6 million, we couldn't really get much of a goalkeeper in terms of one for the future, but we are going to pick up former Roma man Mile Sivlar, coming in for a total of 3.6 million. He keeps 16 clean sheets, and I really got him for the Europa League and the Champions League. That's quite negative. I've already said we're going to be in the Europa League, but this goalkeeper I think can handle them competitions a little bit better. I think one of the issues we've got at the moment is we've got good goalkeepers for Scottish football. When we actually go into the European competitions, they get absolutely plastered. And it's not just because they're a bad goalkeeper, because they're not. It's because our backline is nowhere near good enough to protect them, so they've got a lot more to do compared to a lot of clubs in those competitions. He's already wanted by Palace, so clearly quite a good signing. 8.2 million, so a lot of money being spent on this player, a midfield player in Luka, coming in from, how much did he cost me again? I said £7 million, coming in from Croatia, ridiculous first season, 5 goals and 16 assists. Now, again, a big gamble on him coming here, doing it in the Scottish League that he has clearly proven he can. When it comes to the Europa League and the Champions League, that is going to be the gamble. Can he do it in those competitions? And we're going to have to take that gamble on almost every player that we sign, because we can't sign proven players that have played in those competitions and either won them or performed in them. He is already wanted by Villa, Brentford, Brighton and Leeds. So again, we are signing players quite clearly very well, because when Premier League teams want them within one season, it shows you've signed the right sort of player. And lastly on the free is going to be Lamar Bagard, I believe is how you say that, coming in from Rangers. So again, weaker than a rival. We like to see that. Coming in on the free, 7 goal contributions, and just offers me a lot in midfield, and also centre-back, left-back, and central midfield alongside a playing deep. So a very versatile player who was already wanted again by Brentford. So a lot of our players are wanted now, which at the start of the video was not an issue because they're not really good enough. Now we're actually making our own signings. The other element comes in of actually keeping the players, and that's not always easy, because even if we win in the Scottish League, a lot of them think, oh, I want to go play in the Prem. So we're going to see a lot of moving around, I imagine, and a lot of sort of players going on the free because they throw tantrums and, you know, don't want to take a new contract, and then we can't sell them, because ideally I won't sell a single player, you know. Out of this entire window, we've spent £11 million. I don't want to sell a single one of these, so I'll keep them for as long as I can. Well, we are going to be in the Scottish Cup final this time against Celtic. This is not the final we've already won. It is the other one, and a chance to win it, and not a good way to start it. We are going to go 1-0 down inside of 5 minutes, and you can actually scrap that and make it 2-0 down with a bizarre goal, to be honest, to concede, and we are 2-0 down in 25 minutes, and we actually have a bit of a stinker here, a massive stinker, and they go on to win 3-0. Defeat. For the other Scottish Cup, yeah, it's not pretty. Again, if we could have maybe got past Celtic, we could have gone on to potentially win over Dundee. So both of the Scottish Cups definitely not gone our way this year. As for the league, we are going to run up a 3rd time of 2nd place finishes, which, you know, it could be annoying. For me, I'm actually not that annoyed, because we are constantly outplacing Rangers, which is obviously the 2nd best team in this league. Because I'm looking at some of the players, by the way. Yeah, I guarantee you've seen that before me, haven't you? Have you seen it? Are we looking at the same thing? Is that Matthias Cunha is playing at Celtic? So if we go and look at Celtic's team, which we've got to do right now, by the way, because there is something crazy going on. The players they have got is nuts. Brendan Rodgers in charge. They have got Cunha, Firmin, Toure, Tierney's obviously, Kirkes is there, Jonathan, they must have had a takeover. They must have, Sealer's there as well. Yeah, this will be a very, very tough task, you know. Oh, they're on loan. They're on loan, to be fair, but still. If they're able to get those sorts of players in every single time, it will be very difficult to top them. Because we can't do that. I've not got the money to go and loan in those players all at the same time. So if they're going to do that every season with similar caliber players, we're going to struggle quite a fair bit. So this video now actually has 2 big challenges to win the Cups, the League, and the UCL. Speaking of the UCL, didn't go ideal. We are going to lose in the League Path playoff against Slavia Prague, who are a team that I think potentially we should be getting past. When it comes to the Europa League, we are going to lose against Club Brugge in 2-1 fashion. Now, they are a team, of course, that are relatively decent in the Belgian League. Great facilities, great club, to be honest, and maybe it's acceptable. But it would be nice to have got past them, at least to get to another semi-final, but of course, we would have to get past the quarter-final as well. well, I think we are still miles off, you know, being anywhere near competitive enough to win a Champions League or a Europa League or even a league. I mean, I can't believe the names in that Celtic team. Some of those names are absolutely ridiculous. Now, the positive of this season is a final appearance, but we don't go on to win it. Obviously, we go out in the semis here, so it is a bit of a drop-off, I suppose, but we are only in Season 3. We've got to remember, this is a project that might go on for years upon years. Now, money-wise, we are going to have a budget of 8.2 million. The debts and loans, there is a tiny piece of transfer debt now in 1.5 million, which I do think we can overcome quite easily by being a bit more sensible in the windows. Now, there's being sensible, and there's also spending enough to improve. So we are going to try and hit both of those quotas and improve while sensibly spending. But if I get to a certain point and I feel like, you know, for example, if we start dominating Scotland year after year after year after year, and we just can't push ourselves in that Champions League, installments will be getting used. I'm going to make that very, very, very public. But at the moment, we're sort of plodding along. You know, we're plodding along, slowly getting results. The downside to this is, we're actually not winning. We've won one Scottish Cup, which is brilliant, but the issue with this is our players are getting older. You know, our players are only getting older. We've got a lot of older players now. Every year, there's going to be more and more people retiring, and that forces me to replace them. And then I lose one player, sign one player. I've then got one player opposed to keeping one player, signing one player, I'd have two. So it becomes quite challenging to keep a big squad. So we're going to have to drag people from the under-21s to be, you know, substitutes, rotation players. It is quite a difficult challenge, this, but it's probably why you guys challenged me. So let's get into the next season and see what we can do. Well, here we go. This is a great example because when you sign these players as well, they only sign if they have a release clause in their contract guaranteed. And Feyenoord popped that of 8.7 million. Now, this man, Lamare, has been a fantastic player for me. Great average rating. Maybe not the most goals and assists in the world, but he's played a vital role in this team over the last 2 years. And for him to go for 8 million, yes, there's a lot of money for us to spend, but can I get a better player for £8 million? I'd actually say no. So a big loss to the team. He was still only 25 years of age, but this is just one of many examples where this will happen. Luckily for us, in terms of replacing the midfield side for him, we are going to pick up Yunus Musa, and he comes in on the free, 5 goals, 9 assists. So clearly, that part of the game was replaceable. He's not as versatile in terms of defensive side, centre-back, left-back, but as a midfielder, he obviously is the better midfield player. He's also worth upwards of £23 million. But again, release clause has to be put in the contract. And if he has a good season, which he has done, clubs will be sniffing around from minute one. So whether he stays, whether he goes, I can't tell you yet. But for now, he is a Hearts player. And what a name to have at the club. This is an interesting signing because, again, he cost me nothing. He comes in, he scores 8 goals, to be fair to him, drops a very good average rating. I would never sign Rodrigo Muniz, usually. But on the free, on a low salary, I thought, do you know what? For a backup striker, he's actually quite a good option. And quite clearly, he has done a decent job. A goal every other game is a decent return. He also holds a value of £8 million. So if he was to go, it's pure profit for the club. It sort of makes sense to sign these players. And then that left us a bit of money because we obviously signed 3 players only. Datro Fofana is going to come in for 3.6 million with 19 goal contributions. So a fantastic first season in the league. This guy is really what I needed. A player that can, one, take on players. Now, his crossing isn't the best, but he's more of a take on, get into the box, and then a simple pass in the assist category. So 15 dribbling, great acceleration, great pace, great flair, just a really good technical player, great physically as well. And in this team, he's like a Neymar. I'm going to be honest. He's a fantastic player to have in this team. I look at the players we've brought in. You know, we've brought in some really good players here. We've brought in a free agent striker that is clearly bagging a few goals, a world-class midfield player for this league, and a winger that looks electric. So I do think maybe we can get to another cup final and things go our way. Hopefully. And before we see that, sadly, we do not topple Celtic again. It is going to be another second place finish. It's actually 4 times in a row. I feel like Arsenal now. But we are seeing positives, as in Datro Fofana, the top assister, Luca, joint with him as well. Of course, the midfield player we signed last year. Shankland is still dominating the goal scoring ranks, or at least up there. 1 goal off rank 1. This guy's been about a little bit, you know. I'm actually debating putting a bid in for this guy because he can clearly score goals in the league. Our goalkeeper, Mile, is going to be joint third, which is pretty impressive. And as for Celtic's team, let's go and see who they've loaned in this year. So Rodgers does stay. No loanee players, and their team definitely has got a little bit worse. So the loanee players have gone. So hopefully, as long as it stays like this and they don't start having Cunha Kirkes in the team, we can start to really take them on, which is obviously the main aim of the video, alongside of winning that Champions League. So as for the league, not an improvement, but definitely consistency's there. Champions League is a massive step up because we actually get to the round of 16. Now, we do get humiliated 7-1 over 2 legs, but the round of 16 is a massive step up. Now, we did actually beat Young Boys as well, 2-1, which is really, really impressive. And the league phase, 12th place, which is sensational. We're going to go over and beat AC Milan, Marseille, Dusseldorf and Panathinaikos. We get a point against Monaco, a point against Dortmund, and actually quite respectful losses against 2 of Italy's finest teams. So a very big upgrade in the Champions League. That feels like a bit of a win, to be honest. That is a massive, massive performance, you know. We don't even get a chance to drop down to the Europa League because we done that well. And a chance to win the Scottish Cup final we lost last year again, but this time Celtic again. I mean, it doesn't get any easier, does it? Or maybe it will, because we are going to go 1-0 up inside of 3 minutes. And I tell you what, this would be instant revenge against them. They beat us last year. They are going to get back into the game here with a set piece about 20 minutes after. But this game was different. We go on to win this game in extra time in the second half, with Muniz taking a bit of a hit and hope strike, getting the ball back in the middle, and it is going to be a strike from Musa. Classic. And that completes our only win of the season in terms of trophies, as Celtic are going to beat us on penalties in the quarterfinals in the League Cup. But a Scottish Gas Men's Cup we're going to take. Always funny, the Scottish Gas Cup. We have not won that before. Obviously, runners-up last year, winners this year. This trophy we did obviously win in our first season. So we have won both of the Scottish Cups now at least once, which is pretty interesting to see already. The Champions League is the big win, you know, a real big step up in the round of 16, telling me now that we can actually get out of the league phase, even if we do have to do the knockout playoff round, which is almost expected with a team like Hearts. And this team is coming together, you know. The downside is, year in, year out, there are going to be players that are going to get poached and, you know, not going to be happy at the club, throw a tantrum and leave on the free. We're going to see faces coming in and out all the time. And that's where my skills get tested in the transfer market. But as things stand, I mean, Muniz was a great sign and 12-1. Shankland is still doing his thing, 27-2. This man at right back, by the way, 1-10. And even Kabore, 1-7, so really strong. 9-14 for Musa. This guy, man, he's going to be poached. I can guarantee he will be poached. He's having such a good time. 18-14. Fofana, 17-14. Kabangu, 16-11. The team is performing really, really well. And it's brilliant when I've got them, but when I've not got them, I've got to replace them. And usually the budgets are pretty small, but maybe the Champions League stage we got to has helped out, because we've got £36 million, 0 debt, and the club is looking good. 44 mil in the balance, 36 mil ready to spend, and I'm going to make sure we do spend this money and improve the team quickly, because we're now in sort of we're not in a dip, we're sort of on a nice slow upward spiral. We're very, very consistent second place in the Premiership. We cannot afford to let that go any lower. The Champions League, we've gone up quite a fair bit. The Cups were sort of on a nice sort of like that sort of, you know, wave. We need to make sure we keep improving. And with our big first budget of, what was it, 30 million, 36 million, we need to go and sign the right players and really get this right, because we might not get another budget like this. Genuinely is how it goes sometimes, so we're going to go all out in this window. Then signing one is going to be a big upgrade to the left-hand side of the midfield. It is going to be Cardoso Varela, coming in from Dynamo for a total of £7.7 million. He scores 15 goals and picks up 11 assists. That is 26 goal contributions in his first season in Scotland. A remarkable player who is close to his full potential, but to be honest, even if he was to stay exactly as he is right now, I think this guy can be a big player in me potentially winning the Champions League, but if he can't get me that, definitely win me the Scottish League and start to really dominate Scotland as a country. Now, he's already wanted by Al Etafik, who I hope leave him alone because he's on a good wage for me. I can't afford to pay much more. William Clem is going to come in for 17 million, a big expensive player, but a lot of reasons to sign him. Firstly, a very good first season, great average rating. His first year, obviously, in Scotland, so he needs to adapt a little bit. And I tell you what, right now, that passing, that tackling, technique, the vision, that sort of them stats is why I signed him. Just someone who can sit quite deep, play make. Obviously, we use that role to a very high level. We need a world-class player there. And is this guy Rodri? No, of course he isn't. But he is William Clem. And for us, he is our Rodri. And sadly, already wanted by Palace and Forest. So, quite clearly, another player we've got right. And we seem to be doing a good job so far. So I just hope he stays loyal. We also are going to welcome in Stefan Bajcetic coming in from Norwich, actually on the free. So he plays every game because the guy can play a incredible amount of positions. He's not really got a guaranteed place in the team. I'm not saying that he's bad. You know, he will get into the team, but he could play CM, DM, centre-back, right-back. He could play anywhere, any given game. I'm not going to lock him into a position because I want him to be just a versatile option. He's a great player. He's a fantastic player. Holds a very good value as well. And at the end of the day, when you see a player like this on the free, you've got to make the decision. Will I sacrifice a bit of the transfer budget to pay the wage? I personally did. And lastly, 11.7 million after the add-ons. We are going to welcome in Bruno. He's going to come in from the Mexican League, and he has a great first season. 5 goals, drops a great average rating. The downside is 28. Why would I sign a 28-year-old? The limited options on the market, guys. For that sort of money, young centre-backs cost double, if not triple that, at bare minimum. So he comes in as a pre-built player that I am purely hoping just pushes me to become a Scottish League winner and multiple Scottish Cup winner. And then we can see what he can do in Europe, and hopefully he will still do well. Am I going to say he's the perfect centre-back? No. Is he for this club? Potentially, yes, because when you partner him alongside of these other 3 names, we have had a mega window and also kept hold of all of the players that wanted to leave or were wanted. So we have had a big 5th transfer window here, and I think this could be the season we really take it to Celtic. And another Scottish Cup final, this time against Livingston. So a bit of an easier final, and this would be a final that I would be quite annoyed if I didn't win. And I don't think I'm going to have to be annoyed because we are going to go 1-0 up inside of 10 minutes. Now, this is the part of the game where they completely lost their heads. A little set-piece action here. Thomas floats it over the top into Fofana, into Varela, and that is a set-piece bit of magic. That is the Josh Daly set-pieces. We now go again about 30-40 seconds after. Clem picks up the ball over the top into Varela, little touchdown in the middle, and Clem, Varela, Shankland all linking up so well, and we actually go on to make it 4-0 in the first half. Varela again gets a little bit of luck there. Thomas back in, right into the middle, back stick. That is incredible. That is the tactic. That is all the tactic. Great bit of play, and we go on to win the back-to-back times this time, Scottish Cup final, in 5-0 fashion with another goal being scored in the 75th minute. And that is the Pep tactic in full flow. As we also win the Scottish Premier Sports League Cup 2-0 over the mighty Hibs. So that is going to be our first win since 2023 in that competition. And when it comes to this competition, it is going to be, that is back-to-back. I was right, Celtic and then Livingston. Now, we can see here, of course, we are going to lose in the knockout playoff rounds against Galatasaray. Now, again, I'm not too annoyed because the placement in the Champions League phase is actually quite impressive, and I can't expect to really get too much further than the round of 16. So if I'm going to be petty, maybe I could have wanted to get to the round of 16, but because we have won 2 Scottish trophies, and I've not even seen the league yet, that is okay. That is okay. You know, I'm happy we've won both of these. As for the league, it is going to be another... It's 1 goal difference. 1 goal difference is absolutely crazy. So we are pushing them now. They are really feeling that pressure. Shankland and also Varela are going to be in the top goal scoring ranks. Our goalkeeper, most clean sheets. We've got 2 players there in the average rating and 3 players in the assists. If we get this next window right, we will easily win this league. We've lost by 1 goal difference. That is absolutely crazy. We have now got a multiple amount of runners-up medals. But do you know what? Probably our best season. 2 Scottish Cups, our closest season ever to Celtic in this rebuild, and the Champions League around the same, so definitely can be happy with it. And we are going to have a budget, a very fair budget, of £22 million, with just about £4 million worth of transfer debt to pay off. Now, this team on paper, is it Champions League winning worthy? No. Are we anywhere near it? No. We're going to have some mega windows, and this is why I think the rebuild will take quite long, because obviously we're going to get 20-30 million pound windows, and I'm going to have to try and work a little bit of magic, which is completely fine. But this team that I've got on paper now, I heavily believe there is not a single reason, when you look at that team on paper, you know, especially if you put in the likes of Shankland, who has scored 33 goals, you have got Slavar, you've got Kabore, Bajatek, you've got Amon, you've got Thomas, Clem, Musa, you've got Vabranik, you've got Fofana, Varela, Shankland. That team on paper can win the Scottish treble. It really, really can. That front three, 33 and 4, 25 and 18, 11 and 23. The midfield three, 21 and 11, 9 and 25, 10 and 17. Luke Thomas, 1 and 16. These are players that are giving their all day in, day out. We can win this Scottish treble. As for the Champions League, we've got work to do. I'm not going to hide that. So let's get into the next window. Succeed in, you know, be sort of happy with what we've done. We have succeeded, but there's still a lot to do. We've not even won the league yet, so we've got to stay humble. This is another example of the curse of playing in the Scottish League, because Stefan Bajatek, the player that I said I wanted forever because he's so handy to have, his release clause gets popped of £20 million. Now, business-wise, incredible, because we're going to have £20 more million to spend, and that is £20 million of pure profit into the Hearts bank balance. Now, would I want to lose him for 20 million? I don't think so. I will say the midfield side of him is replaceable, but the versatility, how well he was doing, you can't guarantee you're going to get someone that plays as well as him. I would have kept him, I think. I would have kept him. But that did give me the option to go and spend more money on other parts of the team. So we are going to welcome in Washington, of course, the former Chelsea man. He had a little stint at Celtic, then loaned at Dortmund, and then we've brought him for 13 million. And the guy nearly scores a goal every single game. 6 assists, 8 player of the matches, and a great average rating that I will confidently say, without even looking, will be the best in the league by a country mile. Now, when we look at this player, you get the complete package. 16 finishing, 16 composure, 16 off the ball work, great acceleration, good agility, good pace, good stamina, good everything, really. He's still, I'd say, semi-young. He's 25, which is still, you know, reasonably young for a team like Hearts, where we can't go and sign Yamau and them sorts of players. He is sadly wanted by 5 Premier League teams, and why wouldn't you want him? The guy looks incredible. And the scary thing, he can improve significantly. This is still not the final product, and the fact we got him for 13 million is an absolute steal. We also go and spend a fair bit of money on picking up Samson Beidou to replace the sort of centre-back role that Bajatek did play in a few games last year. He's a great centre-back, 27 years of age, so, you know, again, a little bit on the older side, but he was the best player with the budget that I had available, and I have used him before, and I have won a Champions League with him, so there are factors to why I signed him. Already wanted by Everton, Leeds United, Forest and Wolves, so again, clearly making the right choices. 12 million, 8 goals, 2 assists, drops a great average rating, nowhere near as versatile as Bajatek, but if we do need him to, he could play deep in midfield, so to a certain degree, he can do it. Lastly, we are going to pick up Spike Brits to be our guaranteed locked-in goalkeeper on loan. Now, the good thing about this is he's already agreed to join for £11 million. So he's going to be in from, you know, next season and this season right away. He's come in, kept 18 clean sheets, which is a really good return, a great average rating. Now, he's got the golden boy treatment, really, because he's definitely been put in the best situation, you know, he's been welcomed in alongside of Beidou, who's a great centre-back. He's got a great backline now to protect him, whereas our former goalkeepers haven't. So I'm not going to say our other goalkeepers were rubbish, but he will have the best treatment and hopefully will become the best goalkeeper. So I think as windows go, that is a really, really, really strong window. £31 million spent, 20 million brought into the club. Let's see if we can topple Celtic. But before we do, I think we might have toppled Celtic because we have got to a Champions League semi-final where we do lose, I don't want to say even badly, because we played Barcelona. We are going to lose 5-2, but to get to that stage, we're going to beat Arsenal 4-3. Arsenal, a fantastic team. Round of 16, Club Brugge, a little bit easier, but we did slip up to them back in the day, so even those were quite a big team to get past. And we don't feature, for the first time in this entire video, in the knockout playoff round, which means, in the league phase, we don't only finish second, we go invincible, beating Shakhtar, Madrid, Feyenoord, Benfica, Augsburg, Galatasaray, drawing against Arsenal, and, I mean, that is an incredible time. We would have finished first, but obviously Liverpool scored a lot more goals. That is a sensational Champions League run. And we have top Celtic, and I thought we would have done, because when you look at sort of what we've done in the Champions League, you start to think, well, surely we've sort of wiped the floor over in Scotland. Spike Brits, top clean sheets. Washington, top goal scorer. Do I need to talk anymore? Probably not, because, I mean, the striker we signed scores the most goals, the keeper we signed picks up the most clean sheets. You've got to win the league, aren't you? I mean, it's a great time. Luke Thomas proven he was the right choice from season 2, was it? Fofana, great signing. Luca, great signing. I was wrong about Washington being rank 1. Diamande is going to claim that, and fair play to him. But we are finally going to topple Celtic, finally, and become winners of the Scottish League since 1959. They've won it in 2028. Finally. Sadly, it did come at a cost. We are going to lose both of the Scottish Cups, which, you know, I don't mind because we won them both last year. We get to the final of this one and we are going to lose it against Celtic in 2-0 fashion, and we do lose in the semi-finals of this one 2-1 against Celtic. So they're going to claim both of the cups, but I would, if you would have said to me, Josh, look, you can sacrifice both of these cups for next year and get a semi-final and a Premiership win, I would bite your hand off. So I'm very happy with this season. The Champions League means just as much to me, probably more than the Premiership, because we're really making up ground in that competition. And I mean, money-wise, we are going to have a very good budget of £32 million. The transfer debt has been sliced, really, really cut down. We're doing such a great job. And the team is slowly transforming into a team that maybe can be considered a Champions League standard team. The front three, I think, can. 48 and 10 for Washington. Moon is coming in there with 12 goals. You got Varela 22 and 14. 18 and 19 from Fofana. The midfield's doing a great job. Luke Thomas 1 and 27. Maybe this team is doing the stuff that Champions League winners can do. Shankland is getting older, bless him. He is now what? He is 35. His time is probably up. We cannot forget Shankland. But I mean, we've done such a good job of welcoming players, making them fit into the system. Washington's come in and been a big impact, by the way. He's been a big, big statement, but the job's not done. We have won every trophy we can now, apart from the Champions League, so all eggs are going into one basket. Well, we're not going to break the budget, or maybe we will. We are going to sign Oscar Glau, the man on the thumbnail, because I just trust this guy in the game. He was available from Ajax, and I've looked at his time at Ajax, and he has dropped. He's actually improved every season. Since, you know, why was he in the second team? I'm very interested. Since his return, he has improved pretty much every season. Got to the best performance last season. I pick him up for 33 million. He scores 16 goals, picks up 7 assists, and is just a really good player. Now, this is a statement to win the Champions League, okay? He is an older player now, he's 28, but he wasn't the biggest statement. The biggest statement was signing Endrick, who actually comes in on the free and contributes 30 goals in the league alone. Now, he actually played all of his time on the right-hand side. I made sure Washington stayed up front. So he replaces Fofana, and we have now got Varela / Fofana. We have obviously got Washington, Endrick. That front three can win a Champions League. If it doesn't, it can get me to a semi again. This is a ridiculous front three, a great player. Endrick did not work out at Madrid in this game. For us, he's an absolute dream to have. I'm hoping, with the addition of Endrick and Glau, Scottish treble, minimum semi-final of the Champions League. I mean, why not? Why can't we? Well, we're going to start off with another Scottish League win, which is really, really cool to see. 97 points over 85 against Celtic. And do you know what? We don't even have the top goal scorer. We are going to have two of the new signings in the top goal scoring ranks at 2nd and 4th. Endrick with 21, Glau with 16. Spike Brits, 20 clean sheets, which is ridiculously good. 4 players of ours in the top assists, and 2 in the average rating. So that is going to be 2 years of Scottish League wins done. Well, the Premier Sports Cup final, this time against Aberdeen, so I thought I'd watch it because we've not played Aberdeen in the final yet. They have got Lucas Bergvall, which is a fair play. I mean, yeah, he's a great player and he is going to make it 1-0 inside of 10 minutes. And I tell you what, Aberdeen, I sort of smiled when I saw them. Bergvall again. Okay, maybe I should have got him. We are going to be 2-0 down in 12 minutes and a lot to do now. 56 minutes on the clock. Varela plays it back inside into Kabore. Plenty of space into Endrick. Little touch inside, and that is a sneak glimpse of why we signed him. A very, very important goal, but not as important as this goal right here. We're going to win it back. Great bit of press. Endrick being a link-up player. They've got a man down. I don't care. Play on. Oscar Glau goes through. 2-2. Instantly, comeback has been set. So now the momentum's fully in our favour, and we're going to go in the 80th minute with Endrick into Luke Thomas, into Varela, little touch inside. Comeback has been complete. We are going to lead the game 3-2, but we're not done there. Endrick down the right-hand side, taking on this. I mean, this guy to play in this league is an absolute joke. Great ball through into Washington. These two Brazilians together are incredible. A 4-2 advantage, and we're going to wrap up a game that we were losing 2-0 in, 5-2, to win another Scottish Cup. And it's Washington again, as we also beat Dundee 3-2 in the Scottish Gas Men's Scottish Cup. So that is going to be 3 times inside of, well, I mean, that's not bad inside of a 4-year window, is it? 3 wins. And we're not even doing too bad in the cup that we did watch against Aberdeen, you know. We've won that 3 times so far. Champions League, we've taken a step back, I will say, in terms of the playoffs, because we are going to be down in 11th. Now, hopefully we got a bit of an easy fixture. It wasn't an easy fixture, but we are going to beat Porto 3-0, which is definitely a good sign that we can, you know, we're not bottling things too early on. The round of 16, 7-3 over Sevilla. I will say a bit of an easier fixture. We could have got a lot harder game there, so quite lucky. Tottenham, 1-0, a very, very close game, I would imagine. Semi-finals, we're into a final. I mean, it's close, but we are into a final. My concern is that we are playing Real Madrid, who put 7 goals past Newcastle. We're off to Baku, and it's an interesting angle, and it's an interesting goal. We are going to go 1-0 up against Madrid in 5 minutes, and I tell you what, we're going to go 2-0 up by the looks of it inside of 14 minutes. That is a great start to the Champions League final, and the only thing Madrid can do is get a consolation penalty. Who would have thought that? That is right, we're going to wrap up 2030 with a quadruple winning season. We've done the Scottish treble and the Champions League in the same season. It all come at once. And do you know what? This team, I had a feeling, you know, you look at this team on paper. We have actually lost our right back in Kabore, just to let you know. The team on paper is fantastic. Brits, Beidou, obviously the Mexican centre-back, clearly done his job. Thomas, Clem, Musa, Glau, Varela, Endrick, Washington. That team, especially from this point upwards, can easily win a Champions League. And it's done just that. What a team we have built inside of 7 seasons. That's not bad going at all. Now, money-wise, back home, you're going to have £25 million to spend. There is a bit of debt now, I'm going to be honest, because we have signed some pretty out-there players. But you have got some good young players to use. You've got a team that clearly can win the Champions League. So if you're a Hearts fan, you want to go and get the save file. It is going to be on the Patreon, or you just want to use a fun team, that is going to be there. And Beidou, 21 goals. Now, he did play a few goals in midfield when Clem was injured. But yeah, make sure you go and grab the set pieces as well, because they're absolutely busted. But that is going to be Hearts rebuilt into Champions League winners in a total of 7 seasons. Now, I've got to go and see the Champions League trophy. The reputation, of course, has gone up, and that Champions League is going to be in there. What a team, a very unique team we have built. What a tactic, and what a way to win it against Madrid, one of the best teams in Champions League history. Enjoy the rest of your day, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.